Hello, hello. I'm just going to wait for everybody to join. While we're waiting, hi everybody. My name is Sonia Daptardar and I'm the host of Inspire, Unite, Motivate. So Inspire is for inspiring everybody to get out in their communities and create positive change. Unite is for uniting all of the change makers of the world, and Motivate is to motivate everyone of all ages to really make a difference in their communities. So I see that our special guest has joined. Perfect. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are
I'm
you?
good. Thank you so much for asking. How's your day been?
It's been really productive. Just been doing a lot of homework.
That's awesome. Me too. So for any audience members who may not know you, do you want to just start off by introducing yourself?
Hello, I'm Jaksyn Brown, and I'm the current National All-American Miss Preteen.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited to have you here on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us. So, today we're here to talk about all things community service. And I know that you have an incredible platform that I'm so excited to be highlighting on the show. So, what is your platform and really what inspired you to start it?
So my platform is called Celebrate Your Crown, where I encourage girls to embrace their authenticity and embrace their natural hair. I started my platform because I struggled with my natural hair and just struggled with how it looked, and I wanted it to be different. So I made this platform to encourage others to embrace their authenticity and just be themselves.
That's incredible. And especially being so young and creating such a big global impact is truly, truly incredible. How old are you again?
I'm 13.
That's so inspiring. And when did you start your platform?
I started my platform when I think I was like 8 years old, and it was my very first big platform. So it was kind of nerve wracking, but it was also kind of fun to make an impact in my community.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I was 8, I think I was just learning how to swim. I was not even thinking on that level. And so to kind of see that is so inspiring and such a great message to everybody out there that, you're never too young to start kind of advocating for causes you care about. And for you, it's about, embracing uniqueness. So I really love that. Can you tell me more about the coloring book I saw that you made?
Yeah, so this is actually one of my second books that I've ever published. It was a coloring book, and it is called Celebrate Your Crown with 35 hair formations in the book. So in each page with the picture on it, it has a hair formation. So whether it's my hair is beautiful, my hair is luxurious, or my hair is magical, it really just allows you to really think deep inside and think, wow, my hair is magical. So I created this coloring book just for my platform and to also encourage others to embrace their natural hair.
I absolutely love that. And to be a published author at 13 is just so amazing with not just one, but two books. So that's awesome to hear about. And yeah, to anybody out there, if you're, into coloring or any artistic expression, definitely go check that out. And if you're watching the live replay, I will have that, linked below the page, her page, so you can go check that out. That is awesome. And what was the hardest part about creating a coloring book?
Ooh, that's a hard question. There was a lot of difficult things to manage, but I feel like one of the hardest parts was definitely figuring out what I wanted to be in the coloring book, definitely for hair formations, because I had to figure out what the pictures were going to be, how I'm going to get my message around, how everything was just going to go. So it was very hectic at first, but once I started getting the hang of it, I started realizing that maybe this can be kind of easy. And at the end, it was just a big, like, fun experience I got to have at 8 years old.
Yeah, that sounds totally relatable. I know that this is a little bit unrelated, but I'm a dancer, so I kind of get what you're saying about, being in that flow and kind of once you're getting into it, it kind of gets a lot easier. I know that that's my kind of my a lot of things as well. It's just like when you get into that flow, everything gets easier. But sometimes starting out is really just the biggest challenge. And so, kind of getting into that process at 8 is super inspiring to hear about. So I wanted to touch on school because I know that you're probably in middle school, right?
Yes.
So how have you been able to kind of work with your school to further raise awareness of your cause and to really just kind of spread that message with your peers?
Yes, so my school is actually really big on the outside lives of the students. So with my currently 3 published books, I've been able to not only make an impact outside of school, but also in school. My school has been doing my school is really big on community service. So every time I get a chance, I'd always share my message about embracing your authenticity. So I feel like that's one of the things that I really admire about my current school is that it really allows you to not only embrace what's outside of your school life, but also embrace what's inside your school life.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that working with our schools is such an effective method that I know that a lot of people are kind of nervous or hesitant to utilize just because, there's always going to be that fear like, oh, what are my friends going to say? What are my classmates going to say? But really, it's an amazing tool to spread awareness that you are utilizing. I know for me, with Seeds of Reading or even Inspire, Unite, Motivate, the show we're on right now, I've been able to reach out to so many high schools since I'm a sophomore, so I go to high school, and been super responsive and super helpful. So that's awesome to hear about. And somebody in the audience asked, what are your tips for growing confidence?
So, I do have a lot of tips. One of them is daily affirmations. That's where I really started off because I wasn't really into the groove of like loving myself when I was younger, but daily affirmations has really helped me with that. So, it could just be as short as I love my outfit today, or even I can make a change in myself. So, I feel like just making affirmations for yourself or even having like an affirmation book, which also really helps, is one way to grow your confidence.
I love that. I think that especially going into like high school and then college and then all these big life events or even pageants, I think that it's so easy to fall into that trap of, oh, am I not good enough? Am I not like this? Am I not like that? And I think that's such a simple but super effective way that a lot of people actually skip over. I love that. So before any kind of competition or any big event or even just before going to school, I think that can be a really effective way. And what's your own favorite like affirmation?
Ooh, I actually have a lot of favorite affirmations, but I feel like one of my favorite is I am bold. I've always used that affirmation for myself ever since I was young, and that has really helped me.
Yeah, I think that's a super uncommon one, which is what I love so much about it is most people are like, yeah, like I'm brave, I'm unique, or I'm enough. And I love those so much. But I think this one really stands out to me because it's not something that immediately pops into your head as an affirmation, but it's so, so powerful in its own way. And so that's why I really love that one. And a bit of a lighter note, what is your favorite memory with your platform?
Ooh, my favorite memory is definitely having a book signing event. So I went to I went to a pageant event and I was able to sell over 100 books at this pageant event where I was able to encourage girls to embrace their authenticity and to love yourself just the way God made you. And I feel like that was really the peak of my Celebrate Your Crown book series, and I was able to encourage girls, which really warmed my heart because I love doing that.
That is so incredible. And one of my favorite things about pageants is that it gives you that lifelong network of people you can always reach out to no matter what. I know that's a NAM specialty as well as NAMily. And really the family that pageants create is so, so beautiful. And it really warms my heart to kind of see that through your story. And so I absolutely love that. And so can you tell the audience who may not know a little bit more about the Crown Act, which I saw that you were kind of raising awareness for on your page?
Yes, so the Crown Act is a law that aims to end hair discrimination in the schools and workplaces. So, currently right now in my home state of Texas, the Crown Act Act has been passed, so it is official law in the state of Texas, which I'm so happy that I was a part of that. So it is currently trying to get it passed in all 50 states. So far, it has not gotten passed in all 50 states, so I'm still currently trying to advocate for that and trying to get the Crown Act law passed in all 50 states.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I absolutely love that you're involved in such a global or nationwide movement at such a young age. So, for anybody watching the live replay or even the live, be sure to check that out. I think if you just Google it, probably you can find some details on that. And I think that that's such an important movement just because there's so many girls who are out there, feeling like they're not enough or that they have to change themselves to fit in. And so this is a big part of kind of stopping that and showing everybody that they're beautiful just the way they are. And so I think that's so impactful and beautiful. I saw that you did speak at a lot of different events about your
Yeah.
platform. And so I wanted to ask, are there any that really stood out to you or were your favorite, and why were they your favorite?
I what one of my favorite events was definitely getting able to be in a TED Talk event where I got to talk about my pageant journey, and in my speech I was able to talk about how I wasn't fully confident in my natural hair. So I feel like that was one of my favorite parts because it was my very first TED Talk and it was very nervous for me, and I was only 11 years old. So it was a new experience, but I'm glad that I got to share my journey and my message throughout hundreds of people.
That's super inspiring and actually so funny because I'm going to be giving a TED Talk in like a
Oh,
month.
wow.
Yeah, it's going to be my first one, and I'm also going to be talking about like my own journey with my own platform. And so, yeah, for anybody watching, if you have your own platform, a big part of Inspire, Unite, Motivate is like uniting change makers. So definitely go check out TEDx. I know TED has a lot of programs specifically for youth. So yeah, I think that that's such an effective way to kind of get your message out there and also practice public speaking. And I did see that you've competed in spokesmodel competitions before.
Yeah,
So for any pageant gals out there, if you're going to be competing in spokesmodel, I think this is an amazing way to kind of practice that and get that exposure. So yeah, that's an amazing memory. So moving more into the pageant aspect of things with that, what are some ways that NAM has been able to support you in your community service efforts?
definitely just allowing me to do community service. I feel like that's one of my favorite parts about NAM because it's actually where I began doing community service. I started NAM when I was just 5 years old and I had no idea what community service is. But ever since I joined the National American Miss Organization, I've been doing community service like almost all my life, and I have National American Miss to thank for that. And I think community service is like my favorite thing to do. So I'm really glad NAM has introduced me to that.
I completely agree, and I can completely relate as well because I did not start at 5. I kind of wish that I had, but I started pageant when I was 11, I think it was, and I'm 15 now. And kind of similar to you, I'd never really thought much about community service. I'd been out, I'd done a couple of things, but it wasn't something that was something I consciously thought about or something that was a big part of my life. And so I think NAM was my first pageant. And so it kind of introduced me to that world and showed me all of these possibilities by showing me all these role models like yourself, the national queens, and all of these people who are really getting out there and making an impact through their actions. And so I think that was also one of my favorite things about pageants is that exposure you get to community service.
Definitely.
Um, on a little bit of a lighter note, what is your favorite part about your own hair?
Ooh, my favorite part is that it can really be in just any style. In my speech called Twisted and Tangled, which is my winning spokesmodel speech from NAM 2024, I talked about whether I'm curly, straight, braided, twisted, or tangled. I can always unapologetically celebrate my crown. And I just feel like one of my favorite things is that I don't always have to be curly. I don't always have to be straight. I can have different hairstyles throughout the day. So I feel like that's one of the real reasons why I grew to love my natural hair. I realized that it can just be in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's something I've totally envied about so many people's hair is that I know a lot of people like you have hair that can be really any style, and I've always been like, whoa, I really wish that was me. Cannot be any style. I mean, kind of. I can style it that way, but it's not as kind of natural. But yeah, that's so cute, and I absolutely love that. A little bit in logistically, I've seen that you've used social media in such a beautiful way to really promote your mission and raise awareness of causes you care about, like the Crown Act, like we talked about. And I know that for a lot of people I've talked with, social media can seem like a very scary space to step into, especially I know that you're 13. Some girls are even younger than that, and they really kind of don't know how to effectively use social media to promote their mission or, find all these people. So what are your own tips for like using social media to its fullest?
Yeah. So when I started using social media, obviously when I was 8 years old doing impacts through social media, I wasn't the only one. I obviously had help from my mom. But now that I'm older and I can really just use social media to my fullest, I realize that using social media to get an impact around is the best way to use it. That's really what I've been using not only on my title holder account, but on my just main account also. I am not using social media just for explicit use, which is the way that my mom taught me not how to use social media, but definitely using it to get my message around and other messages that I advocate for around was definitely the best way that I learned to use social media.
Yeah, I have, had similar experiences with social media where it really has so many incredible uses. Like I've been able to connect with you. You live in Texas, I live in North Carolina, and so social media has incredible uses just because you get to meet so many like-minded people and have that big community. I know especially even with pageants, we don't always get to see our like pageant family face to face, but social media is really a great way to stay connected and see what other people are getting up to. I know a lot of pageants like NAM also have social media challenges, so it's just a really great engagement tool and a great way to meet people. And so, yeah, I really love that. So one of my other questions, similar to what I was just talking about, is so many girls want to start getting involved in their communities, but they really don't know where to start. I remember being like 11 and not knowing how to start a platform, or even I didn't even know what a platform was for a while. And so for those kinds of girls who are like, I really want to make an impact, but I don't know where to start, what would be kind of your biggest pieces of advice, and where would you tell them to start?
So my very first community service project was at the Chocolate Mint Foundation, and it was like a local food pantry that I volunteered at every week or so. So I feel like an advice that I'd give people is just to find the nearest community service location that's near you and just start there. There are definitely more community service out there in the world, but I feel like just starting small and then just growing your community service is the best way to start.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that I also started somewhere similar. I think it was also a local food. No, it was a homeless shelter where I served food. That's where I started. It was like 20 minutes away from me in Raleigh. I live in Cary. And yeah, I think that was a great way to also like grow my network because I met so many amazing people who then connected me to some other places I can make an impact, and boom, it just kind of took off from there. So I completely agree with that advice. And I would say also going back to the whole social media thing, I think that's also a great way to start, growing your community. So yeah, I agree with your advice, and I think it's so cool that, you already have this like set plan at your age. I think that's very, very inspiring. And another question I had is how can somebody kind of get involved with your platform or support you in your efforts if they wanted to?
Yes, so you can message me on my Celebrate Your Crown account where I not only continue to advocate for the Crown Act, but I also continue to advocate for authenticity and share my Celebrate Your Crown coloring book. So you could also, you could make sure to sign the petition for the Crown Act on their website to get the law passed in all 50 states, and make sure to just continue to reach out to me if you have any other questions.
Yeah, awesome. And I will also be linking all of her socials down below. So, feel free to reach out to her. And to round out, my last question was, what are your future plans with your platform? Like, where do you see it 5 years from now or even 10 years from now?
So I'm planning to make another book, a coloring book, based on growing your authenticity. So it won't be as the same as Celebrate Your Crown, but I think I really have a set out plan, but I don't want to reveal too much. But I definitely have a plan to create more books and to continue to advocate more.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I know that publishing is, a very scary for a lot of people, but they kind of want to get into that. And I hope that by seeing your journey as, publishing at 8, publishing at 13, and then, going on to publish will kind of encourage a lot of people to take those first steps and take that risk. I think that's a big thing, is that people are very scared to take risks. But in the end, they pay off, because you can have a published book just like, you do. So I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's been great chatting.
Yes, I love chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much to everybody else for tuning in to this episode of Inspire, Unite, Motivate. This rounds out season 2, and so season 3 will be starting soon. If any of you guys have your own platform or social service initiative or organization that you'd like to be interviewed or spotlighted on Inspire, Unite, Motivate, be sure to check out our link tree where we have a feature form, or you can DM me directly and we can talk about setting up a time. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially on a Sunday night. Stay tuned on our page for when our next episode will be, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.